Like, do you pray to have that heart like his,
Hmm.
And it's just these two extremes are always so prevalent, I think, in society. But even in my heart, you want to choose a camp based on a
Sure.
situation.
Oh, yeah.
But God is just like, I think the mature man knows when to do one thing and when to do another. And it's always out of a self gift,
Yeah.
like a self gift to be righteous and to love, a self gift to be righteous and to be that Lion of Judah, like Jesus didn't make decisions like haphazardly, like
Nope,
he
he was
just,
all in.
yeah, exactly. But I think that comes with the human discernment, like we talked about, like not over spiritualizing situations, but just asking for the wisdom of the saints and the wisdom of Jesus and his heart to make those decisions. And obviously that comes through prayer. But yeah, I mean, getting back to that point of like just the wildness, because it perplexes me sometimes because I'm just like, man, Lord, like, what does that mean for my life? Like, I feel like I'm constantly wanting to be wild for the sake of my gratification, like the instant gratification of it, rather than to like wait and find out, wait and
Sure.
see. So I just wanted to ask you about that. Like, why, like, how do you combat that desire for instant gratification of that the wildness of your heart, the desire to just like go out and just do something, like do something crazy or just,
Sure.
and because it is crazy. It's crazy to go out and get drunk every Friday. It's crazy. Like it's fun because it's crazy in a way,
Right.
and it's just like,
It's
oh,
pleasurable. It's
yeah,
delightful. It's like, wow, this is going to get me something. And we know that it always leaves us shorthanded. The next day we're hungover or just we're miserable.
yeah,
Yeah, we try to go after it again and again. It's just like insanity. It's to do the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. And that's what sin does. It keeps us, it weakens us, it blinds us to what the true adventure and good and beautiful and true that God has for us. And so how do we combat that is acknowledge it. Bring your thoughts, feelings, and desires into your prayers. Like, Lord, there's just a part of me right now that just wants to go off and do something crazy or whatnot. But help me to sit in the ache of waiting for an adventure that you have for me. Not my will, your will be done, and sit in it. Pray through that, meditate on it. It's just like, the Lord had this great desire of like, the hour has come, I am ready to go. And there's so many times they wanted to do it. It's like his hour has not yet come. But we also know in the agony in the garden, he was sweating blood because he also dread what was to come. We have no idea what he truly suffered in his passion, especially the Garden of Gethsemane. I got to go there when I was in the Holy Land 2 years ago before everything, the war broke out and everything. But I love the Garden of Gethsemane. It's just like you go in there, it's like, whoa, like the intensity, just the weight, just a sliver that's like, wow. Like there's that desire to, be wild at heart, but also it's just like, it will cost you something.
yeah. That's a really good point.
It will cost you something.
Yeah, I've also been there, and it was you just walking those steps to Cal. It's just it's wild because your heart can't really understand how painful. Like the pain must have just been so different, like Jesus's pain because he's experiencing a pain on like a divine level in a way where like we
Sure.
couldn't do that, and I just it was just flabbergasted. I was just like, whoa, holy crap! But oh man, you said there's always a cost. You said there's always a cost. Is that what you just said? Or
Right. It will always cost you something.
yeah. What do you mean by that? Like, because there's good consequences and there's also bad. So you mean like in a good way? What do you mean it'll cost you something? Or
Well, in the sense, like the adventure is always one exhilarating, the path that God has you on, but also gets you out of yourself. There's parts of us that like we desire, but in our own pace. But when God's calling you to say, go talk to this person and just pray with them, as we all know, especially when we try to live a life in the Holy Spirit, which is, whose greatest masterpiece is the incarnation. And his greatest work in us is to transform us, to transfigure us into Christ. That is our destiny. That's why I love the transfiguration. That is what we are to come. But the adventure is through the cross,
yeah,
which is exhilarating, it's beautiful, but it is also painful because it's not our adventure. We're surrendering that desire, like adventure, yes, wildness of heart, but there's also that selfishness, like, but I want to do it my way. Lord's saying, no, do it my way. And that always costs us something because something inside of us has to die first in order for the Lord to give us, to launch those rocket engines to the path he has for us. And the path is always the cross. Come follow me. Come take up your cross. Getting out of ourselves when we try to go speak to someone and it doesn't work out. It's like, hey, like you're trying, believing that the Lord's trying to speak to him. Person's like, no, thanks. It's like, okay, like, there's part of the journey that's like they won't receive you well.
Yeah, but that's such a big thing too.
Yeah.
How many men? For me, that's a big thing. Like, it's all transactional. If you're sending me to do something and it doesn't work out, like, am I willing to fail? Like, God actually asked me this question. It's like, are you willing to fail for me?
Oh,
You
yes.
know? And I'm like, ugh, like, no,
One of the greatest fear, and this is John Oliver, it's like the greatest fear, he said, for men is failure.
Oh, 100%.
And it's like, and then for women's, it's abandonment. She's like, I don't know, I'm not a woman. but that's so true. Like, just like, the identity of, woman, man, it's like, yes, absolutely. But at the same time, every time we sin, we fail him.
Yeah.
So it's, but so that, with that failure, and sometimes that's what keeps us from going off, because it's a hard journey. It's not easy.
It's impossible.
Exactly.
It's impossible.
Exactly. Strive for the narrow gate. It's exactly that. It's impossible, because the disciples are like, who can be saved? He goes, that's the point. It's impossible for human beings on your own strength. But with God, all things are possible. He makes possible what is impossible for us to love radically and wildly as he's calling us to. And we've all experienced moments it's like, oh, I really don't want to do that. Like, I'm afraid to fail. I'm going to look like an idiot or all these things. But when we take that first step into the breach, we just go with that courage despite the fears. And we say what we need to say to that person, or go where we don't want to go initially. And we see it bear fruit and all these things. It's just like, whoa, like, incredible, and just lifts our hearts on fire, just like, God, this is amazing, all these things. And then we also experience when we do take that leap and they're like, no thanks, or all these, and it's like, they feel so stupid, like, and unfortunately then the enemy comes in, and then our own wound is like, you're not good enough, you're stupid, all these things, and probably more foul language, because that's the darkness, and it's just like, you're right, and it's like, and then we just mope around, or we go numb ourselves because it's too painful.
Yeah, and I think something I was thinking about just as you were talking was this divine madman. It's like we desire, like, to be just mad in sin, but then that just doesn't. I got this. It was just this imagery of like, man, I'm like a mad sinner, but then God's like, come just be a mad divine person. It's like,
right.
Like, take that maddening, like, oh, I just want to do something. It's like, and use that to kind of step into the breach, as you were saying, because I think that's the only way, because it seems so impossible. Like, especially when you're caught up in addiction or sin, it's like, gosh, like, screw that. Like, I'm so enslaved, It's like, how do I break free of this? And it's just, I honestly don't know the answer. And I've like talked to people about it, but it's like with the topic of like addiction,
Sure.
And it's like, whoa, like how many guys are like, how many dudes these days have addictions, just from going out every Friday, like, it's just stuff like that, like if you do the same thing over and over again, if you go out every single Friday, that's obviously going to turn into an addiction. But it's just, how do you actually step into the breach and lose sight of yourself for once? It's like,